my earliest childhood. I remember growing up in the poorest neighborhood in Texas. You know, there was no Christmas, no birthdays. I was a baby of 10 siblings. You know, I had 5 brothers and 5 sisters, and I was the youngest. You know, in school I was a loner. Didn't really get along with a lot of people because they had stuff I didn't have. My mom was a single mom, single parent. A lot of us have a lot of things and take them for granted. And me as a child, I remember not having, but I was happy because they couldn't take what I didn't have. As I was growing up too, as a young boy, my mom was an alcoholic, you know. She would always drink, as far as I can remember. That's how I knew my mom, as a drinker. My brothers, they were all drug addicts. You know, I would come home from school and they would be laying out on the sofa with needles sticking out of their arms, passed out, beers everywhere. You know. It was an unfunctional family. My mom passed away of cirrhosis of the liver. My youngest brother, the one that was right before me, got shot in a robbery with my other brother, accomplice. So there was always crimes and drugs around me within my house. I remember when I was 13 years old, one of my brother's friend came looking for him, and she was a heroin addict. And when she asked for him, he wasn't there, but I was there, and it was my birthday, 13 years old. And I told her it was my birthday, and what I wanted for my birthday was to try what my brothers were trying, which was heroin. And she had told me, no, if they find out, oh no, they'll do harm on me. And I said, they won't, I won't tell them. So that was our promise, me and hers. So we went and got heroin. At the age of 13, I tried heroin for the first time, and I liked it. We went out again, and within a week, I was strung out on heroin at the age of 13. I started doing robberies to support my habit and support her habit. And one of the robberies, I went in with a knife and I came out with a lot of money. And I told her, I need a gun. She told me it's gonna cost so much. So I gave her the money, and that's when I started with a gun. And at the age of 14, I had a gun already. I would go to school and hide the gun in the locker. I would hide the drugs in my locker and go to the classes and go to sleep. School was never my thing. It was more like a safe haven. Because at home I wasn't safe because of my brothers. My mom was an alcoholic, abusive, you know. My brothers were always getting into trouble. So I wanted to become a millionaire by the time I was 18. That was my goal. At no cost, either doing robberies, doing what I had to do. Because I used to supply my mom with money, but she didn't know where the money was coming from. My brothers, you know, I supplied them with a lot of drugs. But they never asked. As long as they would get their fix, it was okay. You know, as long as they would get money, it was okay. You know, that's one thing drugs and, you know, alcohol do to people. It blinds you. You know, it doesn't matter how you get it. I never knew my father. I saw him, but I didn't know who he was. My mom took me one day to a bar, and there was a lot of businessmen. And she was the only lady in that bar. And she told me, go play pool with your dad. And you know, that's the first time and last time I ever heard my mom say that to me about my dad. Later in the years after, when I became, part of a family, they told me who my dad was and what was he about and what happened. My dad got killed. He was brother to one of the main people. And one of the heads took my dad out. And it was just business. At like 14 years old, I was partying with people from school. And they're like, let's go to, they were just drinking. I was high on heroin. It was after school on a Friday. And they told me, let's go party to Juarez. I'm like, sure, let's go. And I had heroin with me, so I had the gun with me. It was weekend, so we took off to Juarez. And not even 2 blocks, there's a bar, a gentleman's club bar. And that's where we ended up. One of our friends' girlfriends went to the restroom. When she came back, she looked scared to me. And I was high, and what's wrong? She goes, there's a guy that told me something, and I feel uncomfortable, and let's go. And I said, no, wait, who? So she pointed him out, and so as soon as he got up, I got up and walked towards him. And when I took the gun out, I hit the trigger, and it went off, and I got him. I shot him point blank. But when I shot, everybody pulled out a gun. I laid my gun down, and all these people, all these men started walking towards me and took me out of the bar and put me in a car in the trunk and drove. I didn't know if to pray or what. All I knew that I was gonna die. I've heard of God, but I didn't have a relationship. I've never seen a Bible, and if I did, I didn't even know what it was. At my house, nobody knew about God. I didn't even know that there was a word called prayer. So when they put me in the trunk, my thoughts were, are they gonna shoot me in the head? Are they gonna shoot me in my chest? Are they gonna cut my head off? What happened to my friends? Where's my friends? Are my friends gonna be there? Did they kill them already? All these thoughts. Is my mom gonna find me? Are they ever gonna find me? A lot of thoughts, but no God. I didn't go with intentions of killing nobody or shooting nobody or even showing the gun to nobody. But at that time, after a few drinks and heroin in my system, the thoughts were, I'm gonna scare him, and I'm gonna scare him bad. So when they opened the trunk, and it was a mansion, like a driveway that we drove up. And they sat me down, and when they took the cape off, there was a lot of guys with a lot of big guns. And this guy came out and started talking to me of who sent me, who I was working for, how come I shot that guy. And all I told him, I'm a junkie, I'm from El Paso, nobody sent me. The girl that he disrespected is a good friend of mine, not my girlfriend, but a good friend. I was just trying to show off, and I'm sorry if it was your brother I shot. I didn't mean to. The gun went off. The gun went off on my hand. So he told me that that person I shot was their enemy, and that if I wanted to be part of their family, I wouldn't have to worry about drugs or money ever again. Remember, I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I turned 18. I'm 14, and I don't have to worry. So I'm in. I'm all in, regardless of cost. But I didn't know the outcome of it. All I knew is my mom, my brothers don't ever have to worry again. Little did I know that once I accepted the challenge, I couldn't leave that place. Because now I'm all in. They started training me of how to take care of the property, how to look for the property, They have shifts of people on ground, inside the house and outside, monitoring the house. Nothing comes in, nothing goes out. As time went by, they showed me where all the dope was at. And they took me to the armory, how to shoot guns, how to shoot an AK-47, how to shoot a .50 caliber. So they taught me a lot of stuff within the armory. And they told me, your job within the cartel family is to be a hitman. All the drug cartels, everything that has to do with drugs, it's all based on the angel of death, which is the Santa Muerte. In Mexico, when they would ship drugs to the United States till now, a lot of people don't know. They put, tons of drugs, which is weed, pills, heroin, cocaine, blocks of them, and then they'll put a black tarp over it with the angel of death, which is a Santa Muerte statue on top of it. And they would do cadence. They would be worshiping the angel of death to pollute all that drug that's coming to the United States with two things. Either you join us or you die using it. They gave us a mission to go deliver 30 kilos of heroin in Texas. And I was gonna be the driver. I was the youngest one. We started driving and we get a phone call to retreat, not to do the deal. Because they found out from a tipster that it's undercovers that we're gonna do the deal with. And the people that were with me, my associates, hung up the phone, threw the phone out the car and started bringing out guns. Under the backseat, there was AK-47s that I didn't know about. They got AK-47s out the car and they told me, we're going in, we're going for the money. And it was like, where's my gun? And they told me, you're driving. Just go in, park the car, don't turn it off. Count to 60 seconds. In 60 seconds, you put the pedal to the metal and take off. If we're in, we're in. If we're not, we're not. And sure enough, we went with the deal. And when I stopped, they got out, not even 5 seconds. And it turned like a 4th of July. There was fireworks everywhere. I counted, I think, to 45 and I took off. But as I was taking off, my back door opened. And when I turned, it was one of my associates jumping in the car and his head blew up. They shot him coming in the head. So I just floored it, dug down and floored it and took off. I left and parked the car in a canyon in Texas with a dead body in the back seat, 30 kilos of heroin in the back, in the trunk, and no money, no gun, and no Richie. I took off with the money. The gun the guy had, I took it, I opened the trunk and took 1 kilo with me of heroin. And I called back home and I told them what happened. And they told me, lay low, we'll get back to you. 6 months later, I was at a party and I got shot in the back. While I was in the hospital, they came in to take fingerprints and who shot, because there was a shooting, active shooting. And they told me if I was a gang member, and I told them no. 2 hours later, they came and handcuffed me to the gurney, to the bed in the hospital, and charged me with 3 capital murders, DA agents, because they found the car and they found the fingerprints in the steering wheel. When we went to trial, all the other guys got arrested. They got the death penalty, all 5 of them. 1 of them died at the scene. And I was later charged with accomplice to 3 capital murders of DA agents at the age of 17. Life, without possibility of parole. So that was my death sentence right there. So if I wasn't happy, nobody was gonna be happy. I was real upset and bitter with the way my life was dealt at a young age with God, with a lot of people. My appeal came up after serving 15 years in death row, and I went back to trial on a life sentence. And not even 5 minutes in the courtroom, my attorney told me that I was going home because they had did a mistrial. They were supposed to give me the lethal injection, not the life sentence. I was tried as an adult, but I was sentenced as a juvenile. That's where the mistrial came in. They didn't even know who they were gonna release. In my mind, I was like, yes. I got 11 tickets, free will cases that were stacking up on me. So the judge told me, he gave me a value pack. He could have given me 10 years for each one, or 10 years for all of them. In other words, you're gonna get sentenced for all of them, 10 years, or if you wanna fight them, I'll make sure you get 10 years for each one, which is 110 years. So I signed the 10 years to start doing my time on cases I picked up. When they sent me back to Colorado, Florence, Colorado, which is a federal underground prison. And that's where the van stopped, thinking it was a layover night, that they were gonna stop there. Then in the morning, we were gonna go to Huntsville. But since I was already in the Huntsville system, we didn't need to stop. That was my stop. They did the regular routine. You get to prison, they do a physical, you're sick, they cut your hair, they make sure you don't take no narcotics back in, you're all stripped down. They give you their own, gown, uniform, whatever they got in that prison. You talk to the psych, see if you're not 5150, which is crazy. You're not allergic to certain stuff. When you walk in, there's an elevator. You have 2 guards beside you. That elevator opens, but before you go in there, they're gonna give you instructions and tell you, when the door opens, you're gonna step out and walk. Just walk. There's only one way you're gonna walk. It opens, you walk straight. It's a hallway. You walk straight to where you see the door open. There's a door open, you go in, and that door's gonna close. So you're like, okay. So I faced the wall, that door closed, thinking that the guards were with me. When that door opened, I turned around, there was nobody with me. When it opened, there was a hallway. And I must have seen like 100 doors, 50 in each side, just doors with a lamp, with lights, like a runway. I started walking with no guards. I'm thinking, what? Where am I going? So I kept walking, thinking that somebody was waiting for me at that room, but it was a cell. The door was open. I looked around. There was no sound, nothing. I walked in, that door closed. The only thing in that cell was a Bible. And remember, I used to smoke the Bibles. I don't have nothing to do with God. That was the only thing there. So when I saw this Bible, I don't know, fear, you must say, anger came into me. I started banging in that door, letting people know that who'd hear me, that they made a mistake, because there's 2 people here and there's only supposed to be 1. I couldn't rip the Bible. I couldn't, I could have done a lot of things with it, which I didn't. But then I figure I'm only here overnight. In the morning, they're going to open it because I got to go to Huntsville. So now I'm thinking I got to go talk to this guy, I got to recruit. I got to, get my dope back because they have it in Huntsville. So who has it? And all this. They never came. That door didn't open. I started going through withdrawals. For like a week, I was throwing up, the runs, everything. I mean, bad. They had this slot that it would open and there would be two peanut butter sandwiches on there. That's it. And it would close back again when I would get them, because I would have 4 cameras, a camera in each corner, and that thing would close. The shower, they opened the door by thinking I was going out. There was a shower coming in, an electric shower would slide in and would turn on. No knobs, just a shower with a shower head, and it would turn on for 5 minutes. Get in, take a shower, come out, dry out. The shower would go back out and the door would close. That was my life for 10 years. I never saw the sun. There's no radio, human contact, mail, visits, commissary. In my mind, I thought, since they couldn't take me out, now they're gonna kill me slowly. Once my withdrawal, I cleaned that cell with that towel and the toilet and rinsed it out because it was just me. I made a life there, just me. Making a plan that when I came out, I was gonna be the leader of the cartel family. Because I knew everything. I knew a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't know. And since a lot of people knew that I got sentenced to life without possibility of parole, they gave up on me. My mom was dead, so I started eating the peanut butter sandwiches and getting into training, push-ups, sit-ups. And I would use the Bible as a calendar. Flip 3 pages and do 20 push-ups, flip 3 more, do 20 more, just like a routine. But I never thought of reading that Bible. I was getting into training because I was coming out, and I was coming out, letting everybody know that I was out. With a plan, Richie's plan. It was like 5 years that I was in that cell. I was asleep and an angel kissed me. And I woke up and it was so warm. It was the warmest kiss I've ever had. Not a sexual thing, but a safe, warm, it's gonna be okay kiss. I got you. I woke up and it was like, I know that cell didn't open and somebody ran in and kissed me and ran back out in it. No. Someone was there that I started looking, I started thinking. I lost it. It's, the brain, I don't know about brain, physical, body, physical, but in my mind, I thought I lost it. I lost my mind now. It flipped the script. It went from day to night now. I started banging on the door like, hey, is anybody out there? I was even whispering. So if somebody was there that didn't want nobody to hear, they could hear me. I said, are you there? I know you're there. And then there's a smell. I smell roses, I smell daisies, I smell colognes, perfumes. I don't know how to describe that smell. All I can say is it was that perfume about the prostitute that pours the perfume on Jesus' feet. That perfume. It was that perfume. And when I turned the Bible that was in that cell with me, remember I told you I would use it as a marker? So it was open. But it was lit up, like on fire, illuminated. And right there, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that God was there. I got on my knees and I just started crying, asking God to forgive me for everything that I can remember, everything I've done, people I've hurt, people I did wrong to. I got to accept everything I've done to a lot of people. I owned everything I did that day. And I asked God to come into my life and to teach me. His plan in life, in my life. I got up and started reading the Bible from Genesis, the first page of Genesis. I remember telling God, I don't know you. I've heard of you, of people that I did a lot of wrong to. A lot of brothers in Christ would come, and tell me that Jesus loves you and this, and I'm praying for you. And I would take vengeance on them. I would hurt them for saying that. So I asked God that He would have to get off the throne and come and show me what He wanted for me to do in life. And it was awesome. Because I didn't know what I was reading, but it felt like someone was there with me going through it. When that door opened, that they called my name to release me, they called me through an intercom, and I was reading the Bible at that time. And it freaked me out because I thought that was God talking to me. Because they're like, Sepulveda, the number, step out. And I was like, huh? Because I haven't heard nobody in 10 years. Nobody came to talk to me, nobody. Nothing. I didn't see the sun for 10 years. When they put me up on that elevator that sun hit me, I was scared to come out of prison. My beard was so long, my hair. They sat me down and took a picture of me. Then they took the clippers and started cutting all my hair, my mustache, my beard. And then they took another picture without nothing. And when they were ready to put me in the van, they wanted to take the Bible away from me. And I told them, no, I'm taking it with me. And they said, well, you can't, that's federal property, you can't take it. I said, well, if I can't take it, I'm not leaving. You gotta put me back down there in that cell. So they had to call the warden. And the warden came and, you can't take it. I said, well, I'm not going. As soon as you guys take these handcuffs off me, I'm gonna wail at somebody because I'm not leaving without the Bible. The warden, agreed that I could take the Bible with me, and I still have that Bible. But I left with Jesus with me. I didn't leave him behind. When I first talked to God, I used to call him about, hey, homie. See, because I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know how to approach God. So however that you want to talk to God, He understands. A lot of us come from the lowest places in the world. And all we know is about, hey, homie. And, just to talk slang, because that's all we grew up with. But before I got out, I remember reading Malachi 3, Malachi 3, where it says, ask anything in my name and I will do it. And to me, that's a big promise, because growing up, the way I grew up, and the association I got into with the associates, with the cartel, your word is your bond. And without your word, whatever you say, if you can't back it up, you're no good. I remember I laid down the Bible on the floor near my door, and I said, okay. And I started walking, and I said, there's 3 things. One day, to be a free man that I could go anywhere in the world as a free man. Number 2, to have a son with my name. In case something happens to me when I get out, he can finish my race. And number 3, to marry a godly wife that loves you more than she loves me. If you can give me that, we'll go all the way. And to God be the glory. I got him in God's timing. And like I said, my God has 3 answers: yes, wait, and no. And for those 3 prayers that I put his promise to, he came through. When I got released in December 24, 2009. My son was born January 19, 2011. I got married with a godly wife that I met at church October 22nd, 2011. And now, met my wife, got married, and I've been here in the IE Inland Empire, which is Moreno Valley, Riverside, San Bernardino area for the past 10 years. I came to this church 5 years ago to give my testimony, and the name of this church is Riverside Seventh-day Baptist. It's located in Riverside, California, and we came and did our event. They welcome us with loving arms, like Jesus. When you come and it's like no handshake. Here it's all hugs, hugs, hugs. And it was like, but you guys just heard what I've been through, what I've done, but it was okay. It's okay, because you see, we serve a loving God, a forgiving God. 8 years ago, I started doing a Skid Row ministry. Every month they have an event over there, and they needed volunteers. So I made a commitment with God that if He would provide transportation, I would be there helping that ministry. So I went and started helping them. Then I saw a shirt with all the guns and bling bling and weed plant. And I said, well, that's the devil promoting his thing. How come we don't promote Jesus' stuff? So God put it in my heart to do a printing business and print his stuff. And I said, how about God's got my back? We use that. You've had my back since I was born. Let's make it public, because you've had all of us, because a lot of us should have been dead already. And you got all our backs. So God's got my back. So yeah, God's got my back. So that's when we started a printing shop. Now we do silkscreen, embroidery, wrap cards, flyers, banners. It's taken off, and it's all God's got my back. My son too, he loves printing. So this is one of his prints that he did. We installed that on my son, that a family that prays together stays together. But you gotta pray to God. Since he was young, he's always been a family that prays together stays together. And the second one he did is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's the logo he did too that we have up on Market. It's awesome serving God, you know. We've had 8 years with a printing shop. We've had 9 years feeding the homeless, doing homeless ministry, doing parties under bridges in parks. And for people that have food ministries, for homeless people that the city or the counties tell you can't do an event in a park, don't do an event. Do a birthday party and invite all the homeless. That's what we do. You don't need no permit for a birthday party. So now we're in our 23rd birthday party for homeless people. And we've had police officers show up because there's a lot of homeless at the park. But it's a birthday party and they're my guests. So they can't kick them out. So that's how we do it.